We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. All right, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast on this Wednesday. Bama Week's kind of cruising along at this point, and that is just really fantastic, and we have a great show for you today. I want to tell you a little bit before we get started about Travel and Cruise World. Give them a call at 1-800-330-7461. Again, that is 1-800-330-7461. What I was trying to do here is set it up to where everybody needs a vacation. We're 18 months into this at this time. So everybody needs a vacation, and you need a resource on the ground that knows all the different corporate rules. There's masks required right now at Disney indoors. There are no masks required at Universal, period. The beaches, the companies, they all will be a resource on the ground that you can use. And the best part of it is they can get you the same price that you were going to get online. So if you do that, you have them plus the resource of what's going on. So that's pretty great. So that's Travel and Cruise World, 1-800-330-7461. I also want to tell you about bookatailgate.com. That is Take It to the Grove, a tailgating company, and they basically have you set up. They will store your tailgating equipment for tailgating Saturdays whenever you need to set up. They will rent you what you need. They can be a TV setup for the game. They can even give you a second tent if it is more crowded than you were expecting it to be. They can even pick up your catering for you. So give them a call at bookatailgate.com. I think they start at single game operations at $200 per game. And they're just going to be able to provide you with everything that you need. So that's Take It to the Grove. That's bookatailgate.com, 662-701-1177. Tell them we sent you as well. Also want to tell you about La Terrain watches, the official watch of the POMcast. They can make you look stylish. They can make you look sleek. You can go to the website at la-terrain.com and buy a watch, and just at checkout, enter promo code POMcast right there, and you get 10% off. So that's pretty great as well. So it's the official watch of Positively Ole Miss. Thank you very much, and I'd appreciate you doing that for those guys because they're helping us out pretty good at the moment. So I'm pretty fired up. Today we have a jam-packed show. Normally I do audio-wise. We're going to let the graphic on the bottom handle the audio stuff. Search Positively Ole Miss on any podcatchers and it'll bring it up. You'll see exactly what we're on, the major ones at the bottom. Also, if you want to watch the show, you can catch us at The Stephen Willis and at Old Positively. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast, POMcast. You can also catch us on YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. And also, you can catch us on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss. All one word, all lowercase. So those are our video options. We got a lot of great stuff coming up this week. We recorded 30 minutes that are going to air tomorrow of Talking Ball with Bill Flowers. Bill Flowers just talking about the Alabama game, and we're kind of bouncing back and forth what's going on. It's a pretty good program. Biscuits and SEC's Week 5 preview. That'll be Friday at 6. It'll air. You can tune in for that. Recorded that yesterday as well. Tomorrow night, we're going to do a special live stream with the boys from Tide Talk Podcast previewing the game. So we will get the game preview from the Alabama perspective. From the Ole Miss perspective, there'll probably be a little bit of banter back and forth. It should be really fun. So that is like a special live stream preview. I don't know what we're going to call it, but it might be live stream preview. We're also going to put it afterwards, the replay. It'll be available on the podcast as well. So we're not going to make you do without at the time being. So I'm pretty excited about what's coming on. And also Sunday we got the review show. I like the review show. It has actually getting decent numbers and everything. 10 minutes, you find out what happened, get the storylines, don't have to waste time reviewing. I'll let you know what's going on. You have that for when you get to the water cooler, and you can have those important conversations that Mondays take over our lives. So that should be a lot of fun. Today's show is going to be a pretty jam-packed show. We're going to talk about how we have to be careful not to lose the game before kickoff. That doesn't sound real. That sounds, flimsy, however you want to put it. But you don't want to lose the game going in. And I'll explain what I mean by that. We have presser highlights with Chance Campbell, AJ Finley, and Ben Brown. That's coming up on the channel as well. And I'm going to let you know exactly what my plans are for Saturday and how I'm going to attack this Separation Saturday on the TV. We do this every week. I'll tell you what I'm planning on watching as it goes on. And this week is pretty obvious, but there might be a little bit of weirdness late in the evening. So tune in for that as well. That'll be in the second segment of the podcast. And I hope to give you a couple minutes back today. I know you guys are busy. I know you guys are planning on the Alabama game. I know you're pretty sucked in, but I'm not going to hold you just to hold you. So I hope maybe I can give you a couple minutes back today. But we start off with do not lose the game at Alabama before the kick. And what do I mean by that? I talked about this with Bill Flowers on Talking Ball yesterday. And Ole Miss has a history of going. Ole Miss has lost that game on the side of the helmet because of the size of the helmets multiple times. Games that you went in there, you had genuinely better teams than Alabama, that you would walk out of there with a 41-3 defeat. Eli walked in and took an L. Deuce walked in and took an L. Jevin, that might have been the game that woke up the 2018, but they went in and took an L. 2016 took an L. These are all teams that should have competed with Alabama and found a way to lose the game. And there's just numerous situations, and everybody makes jokes about the respect the tide and all of that. Everybody makes jokes doing that. And yeah, it's fun as well. But you need to be careful not to overly defer to your opponent. Because you can take a 400-pound gorilla, which was going to be tough enough, and make it an 800-pound gorilla, and it becomes almost impossible. And so many games. The Alabama-Florida game, Florida lost that game in the first 5-10 minutes of the game because of the side of the helmet, because Alabama was coming in. It was 21-3 before you knew it. After that, Florida just took over the game. And in doing so, you can see they were probably the better team that day. But the influence of the side of the helmets and the over-psych out at the beginning of a game is disastrous. Now, Alabama's always going to be well drilled. They're always going to be well coached, and they're always going to have 4- and 5-star players on the other side. That's the reason. That's the secret sauce to why they've been so good. I mean, it's nothing crazy going on over there, but that's what they're doing. So at the beginning of the game, they're going to come out strong. They're going to come out well. And if you are overly deferential and there's a little bit of a second where you need to build confidence, you want to grow into the game. You hear that all the time. You want to grow into the game. That is going to be a suicide pact against Alabama, because just like Florida, it will be 21-3 before you know it. And by the time you get back into the game, you might run out of time, just like Florida. So be careful with being overly deferential. There's a difference between not telling anything, not saying anything, and being overly deferring to the opponent. Because eventually, like we always told you with like Jeremy Pruitt's offense, if a freshman cannot run that offense, and he says it over and over and over and over again, when you need the freshman to run that offense, they're not going to be able to run it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that is where we're sitting right now with that. So we don't want to over defer. We don't want to make them more than they are. It's going to be a tough test. We need to go out there to win. The players, from what I've seen and what you will see, they're fairly locked in, and they know what's going on, and they're ready to execute. It's going to be all about the plan. I think the plan is going to be very good. Lane and Jeff Levy is going to come up with some wizardry stuff on offense, and on defense, I think they found a perfect defense for play volume. That's something I'm just sitting here watching, is like looking what's going on. For play volume, that might be the perfect defense. Now, that's not the way it gets run in the Big 12. That's not a tempo offense at Iowa State. It wasn't a tempo offense at Baylor. It was just a little bit different version of the defense playing with a regular spread offense. Well, it might be an excellent fit for play volume because it's going to protect your defense. The guys are probably going to be in a little bit better shape on the back end. And it provides a little bit of confusion. I talked a little bit last night, I think on the Biscuits and SEC preview, that this defense actually, in a weird way, I don't know why it happens, but it takes your progression. You know, you're looking over there, let's say the X receivers, the first progression, the slot receivers, the second, and it's a left to right progression. Well, this defense is really good at taking that one and making the wrong player in the as they're going through their whatever it's called. I forgot that word. That like number 3 would be the actual number 1. There's openings in this defense, and that's the things that people need to understand is there are holes in this defense, and one of the counters to this defense that is actually out there and is actually well known is 4 verticals. We talked about that on Biscuits and SEC. Because you can just outnumber. It's a 3 safety, 4 wide receiver vertical. There's somebody you're going to have 2 one-on-ones, and you're going to have 1 defender for 2 receivers. So if you have decent spacing, you have a chance. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the defense. I like what we're doing play volume-wise. The main thing that I say is just do not over-defer to Alabama. Alabama's good enough without giving them any help. You can be confident of what you're going to do without being detrimental down the road. Now, the problem with that is, and they've built this a little bit, is they take innocuous quotes and try and make bulletin board material because there's so much wanting to create motivation for their players, and they're such fans, and all of that's going on. They're trying to help out, but all that happens is you become overly deferential, and it becomes, like I said, a self-fulfilling prophecy. So be careful with that. Players, though, have exuded a quiet confidence this week, and I think they're going to come out and play pretty well, honestly. I think they're having fun. They're competitive as all get out, and they have that pro mindset thing and the culture that is built in this program, and it's really hard to look at anything any other way. So we have that. We need to do a presser highlights. Then I think we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'll tell you what I have for my weekend. Hopefully we can get you out of here a couple of minutes early. But thank you for tuning in, and I'll be back in a second. But here's the presser highlights.
I think they're pretty balanced. They have a really strong run game. Use that to set up RPOs, which are dangerous and give defenses a lot of problem. I think we've seen that across the country for the past few years. And they take deep shots. They got the guys to stretch the field and kind of present different looks and make you be aware of that. So they stretch you vertically, stretch you horizontally, and then they hit you up the middle. So they're pretty versatile.
I'd say a very solid group all around. I'd say their defensive line, they play very well. They play very physical. expecting to see a lot of fronts, a lot of movement. So, we'll just have to communicate and be on our game. Their linebackers are very physical and very athletic. They play the ball all over the field. So we've got a great challenge ahead of us this week.
I mean, he's a good quarterback. He doesn't look like a young guy when he's playing out there. He looks more comfortable than most young guys, but he's definitely a really talented guy. Got a good arm. He can extend plays with his legs, so we got to make sure we keep him in the box.
I think as a team, we're just taking it day by day, just trying to maximize the day. We don't get a lot of them. The season's precious, and then each day you get to prepare for a game is precious. So, when it's a Monday and whatever that slate has, go attack that. And then today was a Tuesday, so it means we strap the pads on, get some banging going, which you need to callous your body. So just kind of take the day, maximize it, get everything that you can out of it, go to sleep, then do it again.
I think tempo was our biggest weapon last year, and I think that's our biggest weapon on offense as well. We've just got to be sound and move the ball as fast as possible. That way we can try to have some success this week.
I honestly not really. They got guys on the outside that can make plays just like they did last year. They got good running backs, so it's really they reloaded. So that's what everybody always says. They definitely did reload. They got guys everywhere.
Yeah, I really. They're a fantastic team. So there are a lot of challenges that presents, but I think in terms of intimidation, I don't know if I can answer that because I think that's a strong word, and I don't know that we're intimidated. I think we have a ton of respect for what they do, and they're dangerous. So we understand that and know that, and just going to do our best to go put our best foot forward.
Yes, sir. I mean, obviously, we understand this is a very big football game, and we know Alabama's an outstanding opponent as well. We know it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be awesome being able to play in front of a full stadium at 2:30, primetime kickoff. I mean, what more could you ask for as a college athlete, especially going into your 5th year? So we're all excited for the opportunity.
I was kind of it's a weird thing, but I was kind of a mix of both because I had a friend that went to Auburn actually that played linebacker there. So I was kind of a Auburn fan and an Alabama fan. So it's a little weird, but I was a fan of both.
Penn State gets pretty loud. 107s is a real deal. Ohio State at the shoe, that's loud too. The stadium is pretty vertical, so that sound bounces. Michigan's a big stadium that didn't get as loud because it's just the nature of that. It's kind of more bowl-like. But I've played in front of some loud crowds, and I know obviously guys down here who've already been to Alabama, been to LSU, been to some of those places that get up there. So just knowing that communication is difficult in those situations. So you got to be real direct. You got to use hand signals when you can. Just be intentional and just really just do your best to just be as on it as you can.
It's going to be loud. I mean, just plain and simple, it's going to be loud. I mean, it's going to be hard to hear at times. We're just going to have to all be laser focused, locked in on our assignments, and we're going to have to echo all of our calls, especially on the offensive line. I mean, there'll be times where we might not hear the snap cadence. We might have to go to silent count. I'm not sure. We're just going to have to be ready for, everything for that hostile environment. So
it definitely did stick with me that they put up so much last year. Just got to move forward and make the corrections that we needed to. And I definitely do think we're further along than we were last year, considering we had a new defense last year, so we didn't have that much time. We weren't really comfortable. But this year we're definitely more comfortable, know what we got to do, know the system, so we're definitely locked and loaded.
Yeah, he's an extremely talented quarterback. It's kind of hard to believe how young he is because it doesn't seem like it. Seems like he's been doing this for a long time. He goes through all his reads. He doesn't get stuck on one read. He's comfortable scanning across the field, left to right, short to deep. Stays comfortable in the pocket, has the athleticism to escape when he needs to be or when it needs to be. Can press the line of scrimmage and still deliver a great ball on the run, can tuck it and run it because, again, he's a fantastic athlete. So he's a huge challenge. He's a great player, and I think that's going to be a big test for our defense.
I'd say it's different. I'd say it's probably more noise deafening just because, the amps are so loud. It's just a different kind of noise, I guess, when you're in a stadium and there's, 90,000 fans in there screaming. So it's a different type of noise, but, having something like that obviously kind of helps preparing us. That way we're not surprised on Saturday.
I personally don't look at it like that. I just come out and do what I got to do every week. Just make sure I come out and do what I got to do. So I don't really try to look into the spotlight type of thing, but just do what I got to do.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You heard the presser highlights. That's a confident bunch in those press conferences. They're answering questions. As a matter of fact, they just look really comfortable, and I am interesting to see how that translates on Saturdays. So that happened yesterday. It happened today, and yeah, it should be quite interesting. Tonight, SEC After Dark. Jeb's back in Florida, so we will do an SEC After Dark tonight. Have a lot of fun. The chat will be open, as it always is, and chat turns out to be a really good thing for us. I think Monday it was really, really lit up, so I want to thank everybody for that, and we need to keep it going, keep building. I want to ask everybody to evangelize the show. For lack of a better word, share it, like it, retweet it. Well, however you do that, it will only help the show get bigger and better. And that is the whole thing. We don't have a captive audience here. There's others that have an easy run of things because they have a captive audience. We are attempting to build everything from scratch. A completely independent thing. We're trying to find our niche and to own it. We don't do TMZ. We don't do rumors. We don't play the telephone game. But if something needs to be talked about, we talk about it. So look at that, what's going on, and please help us out. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, the Facebook channel, subscribe to all of them. I know that YouTube has fantastic notifications, so even if you don't want to watch the videos on YouTube, they will let you know when they're out there. So that is a interesting thing to go through, and whenever you look at that, you can get it all set up, and it's kind of a cool thing. Also, before we'll see, okay, we got 8 minutes left in the show and a full thing. I want to give you a couple minutes back, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into what I'm going to do this weekend. This weekend, looking at the schedule, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm going to start out with SEC Nation for obvious reasons. I might flip a little bit with Game Day because I think there's going to be a story about Ole Miss and Bama just because of that game. So they're going to make a big deal out of that even though they're not here. But I'm looking forward to the opening game, the Arkansas-Georgia game. Now, I expect Georgia to kind of take control in that game. I expect Georgia to kind of assert their will. They've played like the best team in the country this season so far. They should be number one, period. I think Alabama, by reputation, gets to be number one. Georgia is what we think Alabama is. So that is kind of the way I put that. Now, I'm not degrading Alabama or saying they're bad, but Georgia's just been really good. And this week they get Darnell Washington back and a cornerback back, so the rich get richer. But Brock Bowers at tight end has been a pleasant surprise for the Bulldogs. Now you add in Darnell Washington, you can actually do some 22 personnel stuff and have weapons in the receiving game, so I'm kind of curious to see how that will look. It's a game that I expect Georgia to win, and I expect Georgia to win fairly comfortably. I don't think Arkansas is quite ready to show out. They got Texas A&M without a quarterback. They were offensively challenged. They have a great defense. Get a lead out before Mike Elko can react, and all of a sudden try and hold on for dear life. Next thing you know, they're winning the game 20-10. But Georgia has a little bit better offense. JT Daniels a little bit better offense. Now, anytime you play that drop 8 against that drop 8 defense, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for a quarterback. JT Daniels was not the guy in Fayetteville last year. So this will be the first time seeing that. But with Georgia's backs and everything going on, I think they're going to play a little bit of bully ball, and that should be enough to push them forward. And offensively, Arkansas's got their work cut out for them because defensively, Georgia looks like Alabama did in the early 2010s. It is absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant. So I'm going to watch that one. Obviously, Ole Miss and Bama at 2:30. We're going to dig into that starting really tomorrow. We'll start going into that. And I'm looking forward to see if that game, if Ole Miss just comes out and plays clean. That's the main thing I'm looking for in that game. Can Ole Miss play clean? They played cleaner offensively against Tulane, but how can they play clean against Alabama? They need a good game. Alabama's a favorite for a reason. Alabama's good. There's 4 and 5 stars everywhere. The greatest coach of all time is on the other sideline. Ole Miss obviously needs to play well, get breaks, and just see what happens. And I think they feel pretty good about it, honestly. If you just judge by body language, they feel pretty good about the situation. After that, I'm going to cut on Florida and Kentucky for a little bit. I'm curious. Kentucky's offense looks a lot like last year's offense. They're throwing for 100 yards, running for 200 yards. It doesn't look much different. We were told it was different with Will Levis, and I like Wan'Dale Robinson, and they have him there to do that. Between Will Levis and Wan'Dale Robinson, they have the ability to open up Florida's defense. Will they do it? I don't know. And I'm going to flip over and watch a little bit of LSU and Auburn, maybe because I'm a masochist. It's two teams that really do not have an identity. It's two teams that are infinitely talented. And it's one of those games where if LSU won by 21, okay, I get it. If Auburn wins by 21, yeah, I get it. I'm expecting a good game though. That game is going to start off at 9 Eastern on the East Coast. That's 8 Central. And so you're looking at a 1 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep. And if you're covering that game, you're going to be doing a lot of work. That'll take care of everything for Wednesday. We are still busy doing all kinds of stuff. I think this weekend I'm going to get my annual pass at Disney World, me and my wife, and getting ready for the 50th year anniversary that they're going to start celebrating October 1st. I think October 1st we're going to go get our pass, and we're going to do that. It's free parking, and all that. And the whole purpose of our thing is like move to Florida, and if you ever want to go eat lunch at the Italian Pavilion at Epcot, just go eat lunch. So that's what the annual pass is going to do. I know people think of Disney and they think of all the headaches that come with being at Disney. We don't really see that. We don't really deal with that. We just enjoy the experience of actually being there. It's a nice little bit of escapism to go with the sports and everything. And that's the reason this is Positively Ole Miss. I'm just kidding. So anyway, I'm going to give you a couple minutes back. I do want to thank you very much for tuning in. And it's been a lot of fun. And, we're going to do this again tomorrow. Tune in for SEC After Dark tonight. Tune in for the special preview live stream tomorrow. But until then, I just want to leave you with this. Howdy toddy.